Welcome to E-Pathashala lecture series for M.Arch students. The main objective today is to learn about sustainable and green building material. In green building material and sustainability, we are going to look at LCA and embodied energy. In sustainable constructions, the social progress which recognize the needs of the everyone. The main objective of sustainability which fulfills the needs of the present and also it categorizes the needs of the futures. That means, it fulfills the needs for everyone in all aspects. That is the main consideration in sustainability. It also protects the environment in a very effective manner and it also takes care of the natural resources available in the world and amount of depletion of natural resources and how to conserve these materials in a great extent. In this way, the maintenance of high and stable levels of economic growth and employment is categorized in sustainable constructions. The main sustainability can be defined with many comparisons and statements. Now, let us look at traditional criteria. In traditional criteria, that is nothing but the vernacular materials and the construction techniques. In this, we can look at corp, wattle and dope, compressed earth blocks, all the vernacular traditional methods which is implemented in rural areas by the rural people, all will come under the traditional criteria. These materials will import great role for sustainability and also it increases the performance. Here the performance is nothing but the thermal performance of the material. All the vernacular materials which contributes a greater level in thermal performance by reducing the climatic temperature. That means, outside 30 degrees Celsius and inside it will maintain 25 degrees Celsius. A temperature difference of delta T will have 5 degrees Celsius. In this way, all the traditional materials may provide a major role in maintaining the thermal comfort in a building and also the quality. The cost is also very less since it is available in the same place itself and it is also sustainable and we are reducing the resource depletions and we are protecting the environment. In this way, healthy environment can be provided. Healthy environment in such a way, we are not using any kind of chemical elements or any other treatment of artificial materials. We are using the natural materials in a traditional way. So, the indoor air quality also increases in a greater extent. And if we reduce our energy use, the global warming also will be reduced in a greater extent. This is something like we are providing some a role to the environmental considerations and resource, waste and recycling. The 3 R's we have seen in the sustainability: reduce, reuse and recycling. This is the mantra for providing the sustainable environment and also to protect the world from pollution and hazardous substances and also to protect the internal environment. We need to have a proper sustainable planning and how to preserve our land and how to conserve our resources and whatever the reclaimed part of the land, we need to use it in a proper way. Now, let us look at life cycle assessment under sustainability. This is something like very important to know about the every death and birth of the material. It is defined in ISO of 14040. It is a technique assessing the environmental aspects and also the potential impacts associated with the product. Preferably, it is an inventory of relevant inputs and outputs of a product systems, they say. It is nothing but evaluating the potential environmental impacts associated with those inputs and outputs. On a whole, life cycle assessment is something like any material which you use it in the building industries which has a LCA values and these LCA values going to give a hidden factor for us whether this material is rich in sustainability or it is not, or it is expensive, it is accessible, it is necessary to use this material in the building or not. Interpreting these results in a very fruitful analysis and these impact assessments will give us a greater contribution for a sustainable built environment. Now, let us look at the definitions, what they say about LCA. LCA is a technique to assess the potential environmental aspects, that is nothing but to lead to the pathway of sustainability or the global sustainability, and potential aspects associated with the product, which is nothing but a compiling an inventory of relevant inputs and outputs of these materials, and also evaluating the potential environmental impacts. If we use these materials, what are the harmful environmental impacts we are going to get it? Is there any reduction in the IAQ value? Is there any kind of radiation over this material, or is there any kind of heat energy trapped inside the outside the surface or inside the surfaces of the roof or the wall or any other part of the building? All this interpretation with the results which impact various phases in the study, and it provides an objectives for us what need to be done. Now, look at the life cycle assessment framework chart. The first chart, it describes about the goal and the scope definition. The goal and the scope definition is to provide a entire clean, global, sustainable built environment to a place, and inventory analysis, whatever the materials we are going to use it in the built materials, and impact assessment of these materials towards the environment, and with these interpretations we are going to implement in a direct applications in the product for development and the improvement of the built environment. Strategic planning, which provides the way like initially from the form development of an architectural design to the end planning of it, and public policy making in addition like the users behavior policies or various aspects in the built environment, and marketing and other, which makes a criteria in the life cycle assessment. Now, look at the three pillars of the sustainable development which we have seen already, the social, environment and economy. These are the three pillars holding the sustainability and the sustainable development in the global world. And to look at this, to take care of these three pillars, we need LCA value assessment of each and every materials and what need to be chosen for the built environment. These assessment, it is performed in various phases. Among this, there are 5 phases are very important in the stages of building life. Building materials is what is the building material we are choosing for the environment, and how do we use this material for the constructions, and this usage of the material and the maintenance of the material and the demolition of the material. It is nothing but cradle to grave, right from the birth of the material and the depth of the material need to be reused and conserved in a proper way. This model is by far the most comprehensive available on a single office building, including transportation between all phases also comes under the life cycle assessment. Since fuel is also coming under as a material value, and we need to look at the LCA value of these material also in terms of built environment. These phases were analyzed based upon the 5 chemical equivalents. We have seen in the last slide the 5 basic phases like materials, construction, uses, maintenance and demolition. Now, 5 chemical equivalents: climatic change due to carbon dioxide, acidification due to sulfur dioxide, smoke creation and eutrophication due to phosphate, and heavy metals represented by lead. These chemical equivalents contribute a value in the life cycle assessment. Now, look at the life cycle assessment of the building materials in terms of tons in carbon dioxide. It produced 4,800 tons of carbon dioxide, which again will impact the depletion of the ozone layer, and sulfur dioxide in 19,000, and various lead aspects is 7.4, that is very toxic and injurious to the health. And constructions, during construction it released 820 tons of carbon dioxide, it is in a greater value, and sulfur dioxide in 5,800, which is again another higher value in terms of pollutions. and electrical services, which is again higher value, contributes for the carbon dioxide exhalations 25,000, similarly 59,000 in sulfur dioxide, and various maintenance, if you look at it, it is coming under a very lesser value, but during demolitions it is 440 tons of carbon dioxide and 4,400 in sulfur dioxide. On a overall, if we construct any building or with the demolitions, if you look at it, the amount of depletion of the carbon dioxide, it is coming under to the value of about 48,000, which is huge. These impacts, it is considered in a 50 years of service life. Environmental impacts of office building with 50 years of service life, we are seeing now carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide and hydrogen carbonate and potassium and lead we have seen. So, to protect a healthy environment, what need to be done? How do we protect this ecology or minimal ecology impact? First is the minimal waste, to reduce the waste and also to reduce the pollutions, and maximum amount of recycling if we do, we can reduce the pollutions, and protection and enhancement of the natural environment, wildlife and biodiversity, to protect the local ecological resources and the environment and also the biodiversity, so that everybody enjoys the benefits of the environmental, which is greenery, and we require a careful planning for this physical and social well-being, like spaces to walk, encourage pedestrianations and reduce the vehicular movement. In this way, we are reducing these toxic gases like carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide and various hydrogen sulfide, these carbon emissions into the environment, and to have a social gathering places like providing more of playgrounds and environmental friendly spaces for relaxations. In this way, we can lead to the prosperous community. Healthy living will lead to a healthy community. So, healthy prosperous economy also will be generated in terms of wealth and long term investment without destroying the natural and social capitals. So, we no need to import the materials which is needed for the construction from various countries. We can use our own resources and reuse it and conserve it and then reduce the waste. In this way, we can protect our economy and minimize the resources, and we can have good environmental impact, which develops the new skills through education and the training, and it meets the basic needs through the local jobs and services. A healthy living will lead to a sustainable community, and also a social well-being arises from a people, which gives the sense of security, the belonging of our own region, our own materials, our own area, our own environment, eco-sensitivity. These kind of familiarity will support neighborliness, cohesion and integration of different social groups based on respect for different cultures, traditions and backgrounds. It protects our vernacular culture and also the value of our traditional heritage. And it requires a proper planning. A planning, it again imports a design. The design, it needs to take care of the initially from the formation to the end product, and also the density and the layout, which influences shape of a community, the form, how do we integrate the people and how do we socialize the people in our design, the level of services and the way people interact with each other and the environment makes a greater change in the communities. Examples, if we look at it, low density sprawls makes public transports more usage and local shops unviable. Higher density supports shops, buses, neighborhood schools and a sense of community. Minimizing this energy use and environmental impact contributes to sustainability we have seen, and also which helps in reducing the global warming and encouraging the long term stewards of communities. Recycling buildings helps to reduce the resources which use and encourages the care and low impact approaches. We have seen minimizing the energy usages of the materials. Now, look at the viable local economy and services which is provided in the country, which is underpinning for a community development and survival. For example, if you look at the loss of manufacturing has made many traditional urban communities unviable. There is no traces of these communities is existed in the place, also we can find it in many places, and requires a major economic shift and new uses for existing infrastructures so that they can flourish it again. They also require some kind of transports which links and connect the wider job markets, which again needs the education and training for the new skills for the younger generations. So, in this way we can look at it. We need to look at the community organization and neighborhood management plays a vital role in creating a social networks and urban viability, which is ensured in a well maintained and secured conditions for the stable and long term participation. Public participation plays a major role in a sustainable community and also the cohesiveness of the community. If you look at an example like regeneration, the regeneration of the old companies and providing job opportunities and local housing companies and neighborhood management organization, so that to import or increase the level of the social life of the people, and it again transforms the basic infrastructures to improve the street conditions, community safety and security and social contact and youth engagement by providing learning services and workshops and training for the youth, by acting as a local conduit for decision and coordinating supervision and frontline service delivery, which plays a major role in the organization and the neighborhood management in the sustainable community. What makes a sustainable community? So, we have seen various factors. Now, some of the key factors we look at in the sustainable communities: a flourishing local economy which provides the job and wealth to the people. Again, we need to provide a economy for the people which will lead to a good and happy life to them, and it needs stronger leadership to provide a positive change into the environment, which again involves effective engagement of the public participation by local people. They will take the decision and they will give the ideas and the suggestions for improving the environment, which again taken into the consideration, and the government can propose the schemes and the opportunities which is suitable to the locality and the providing the business for them, and especially in terms in the planning, design and long stewards of the community and active voluntary and community center. A safe and healthy local environment with well designed public and green spaces. This is the job of an architecture students or architects in the future to enter into the sustainable communities. Sufficient sizes, scale and density and the right layout to support basic amenities in the neighborhood and minimize the use of resources. By providing good public transport and other transport infrastructure both within the community and linking into the urban and rural and regional centers. This is very important. We have to have a connectivity between the urban, rural and regional centers. This need not to be in different extinct elements, well connected sector, and also in transportation and also in terms of employment and also in terms of use of resources and also in terms of connectivity of this neighborhood will lead to a safety and healthy environment. Buildings actually they have to interact both individually and also collectively to the people, which can meet the need of the people over time, and also by minimizing the use of the resources we can construct the building. A well integrated mix of decent homes of different types of tenures to support a range of household sizes, ages and income like LIG, MIG, HIG. So, like that we need to have a design orientation for a different tenures of the people ranges and also the income groups. A good quality local public services including education and training opportunities, health care for the people and community facilities especially for leisure, like to encourage the social communities and also engage the old age people and the youngsters and the kids to provide playgrounds and social interaction places like parks and other areas. In this way we can provide a diverse, vibrant and creative local culture which encourage which gives a pride in the community and cohesion with it. It is something like a sense of place, a sense of belonging, which we provide to the people that we belong to this place, we need to protect this place, when we need to use the resources in a proper way. The right links with the wider regional, national and international communities. There are various measures of sustainable communities we have identified. Among that, 4 main measures of sustainable communities is just very important to support planning for sustainable densities, design and layout, that is an architect's job, and also to minimize the energy usage of the building and gives a good environmental impact, and also measures to foster economic prosperity, and also to support community organization and to create a neighborhood management. These are the 4 main keys or for measures of the sustainable communities, which is identified by the government in the sustainable community planning. Now, look at the energy analysis of a building. It is something called a budgeting, which is a total amount of primary energy which is required to provide a good service. It is also called energy budgeting, accounting and energy costing as per Hayday in the year 1970 stated as energy budgeting, which is developed into various handbooks for industrial energy analysis and energy usages, which is again according to the building industries, it is developed into life cycle assessment, life cycle energy analysis, embodied energy. These are the 3 main aspects which we go into look at into wider aspects in the sustainability. Life cycle energy analysis. It is an approach to integrate all energy inputs and to product which is accounted not only direct energy and also the indirect energy which is associated with that, and also needed to produce the components, materials and services which is needed for the manufacturing process. An LCA can include like electric generations, biofuels, or an LCA is limited to an energy criteria alone. For building materials, the following considerations which is taken into the consideration into account, mainly the environmental performance of the process which is used by the manufacturer in the industries and the suppliers when they supply the materials to the site. The first one is use of recycled materials, reusability of these materials and also recyclability of the materials and items. So, waste minimization to reuse and recycling, the various steps to lead into that we can look at it. The first one is prevention of usage of other material which is not associated with environmental consideration, and reducing the usage of this material, that is minimizing it, and reusing the materials which is used in the constructions and recycling these materials and also into a treatment of these materials, and the last stage is the disposable. So, if you look at it, the less favorable options if it is minimization and prevention and reuse plays a major role in terms of environmental considerations, whereas treatment, disposal, recycling which leads into some amount of energy impart into the LCA. So, energy conservation features solar energy utilizations, that is again a renewable energy, and also water conservation features, rainwater harvesting systems like that, and also incorporation of recycled materials, the debris of waste materials which is used in the demolitions can be used as a recycling material, like fulfilling for the plinth, like filling the stands like that, and also low emitting materials and reducing the building construction waste and also less environmentally destructive site development. So, what can the construction industry can do for reducing this LCA? It is reusing the existing building assets and design for minimum, not for lavishness or anything, and aim for lean construction which is vertical kind of vertical way of constructions, and also minimize the energy in terms of constructions, minimize the land use, also we can say minimize the energy in use, and also not pollute the environment to conserve the natural resources and also the water resources. So, operational carbon dioxide, we have known about these factors, the depletion of these gaseous substances which imports a major role in the depletion of the ozone layer. So, how to reduce this carbon dioxide energy consumptions in the new building constructions, and also the operation cost and in emission of these gases in consumption of these gases in the environment, and reduce the emissions by providing efficient heating and cooling lighting systems, HVAC systems, and indoor street equipments, and also sensible assessment of internal heat gains, and simplifying the controls and maximizing the good day lighting and controlling the solar gain is also another factor in that. The air quality improvement by providing more amount of windows, natural ventilations, and also passive techniques, and also it provides improved insulations, various renewable energy resources like wind, solar, biosustainable fuels, and appropriate use of the heat and the power in the building industries. All these aspects of embodied carbon dioxide, which is selection of this component, which is very important in terms of design, quantity, production, transport, and product. So, life and environmental impacts from cradle to grave, which plays a major role in terms of embodied energy, and the ways of reducing this: lean construction, prefabrication techniques in the buildings, and avoid waste and use of local materials, and avoid carbon dioxide intensive components. Water, use of water saving devices, submetering, leak detection. In this way we can conserve the water, and also the opportunities for grey water recycling and rainwater collections, and uses grey water recycling wastewater for the gardening or roof gardens. Use of sustainable drainage systems. Waste, treatment of waste in a proper handling way will make the environment to look better. A construction practice which is used in reuse, recycling in all ways in constructions, and hierarchy of waste management need to be planned in the building industries. Reducing the waste, reusing, looking for the opportunities to use the materials on the site, landfilling, encouraging more of reused materials in terms of landfilling, and recycling and recover these materials in terms of the energy. If it is not needed, need to be disposed in a well manner. So, in this way we are protecting the biodiversity and reducing the ecological value of the site, and habitat also can be even taken into the consideration, and appropriate action of wildlife, and protecting the site and the surroundings, and reducing the damage to the wildlife during the construction process. So, identifying the planting tree, the species, the indigenous species which is in and around the site, which is naturally occurring in that area. What can we do to improve it? Leaving some large grasses areas, that is nothing but providing open areas, and minimizing the use of herbicides and use of biodegradable products, so that we are protecting the land in contamination, and using environmental friendly ways of controlling unwanted pests, and protecting and enhancing existing ecological features like wildlife, trees, edges, and water courses, and involving these local parties in a beneficial manner. Transportation, of course, which plays a major role in sustainability because of the consumption of the fuel. So, to reduce the transport will make a greater impact in the environment, and also in terms of saving the economy, which requires a careful planning in a very significant manner. Transport of personnel like green travel plans to construction site for the employees, and provide cleaner fuels and to access public transports. Whole building strategy, if we look at it, existing R&D programs, building technologies and components tied together by system integration and computerized design tools. So, first is passive solar strategy, siting and the orientation of the building, the glazing material it is used and the shading components which is used, in a resultant it is a climatic responsive building. And then advanced technologies like energy reductions, energy controlling methods and thermostats, and identifying proper HVAC systems and use of renewable energy materials like PV and solar water heating systems, and energy efficient materials, superior building materials including high efficiency windows and insulation for the brick and concrete and interior finished products for increasing the thermal energy value. So, extraction of the material, manufacturing of the material, construction of the material, use of this material, disposal of the material, reuse of this material, recycling of this material and demolition of this material. All these components together we can call it as this is LCA energy assessment. Students understand the key elements which is needed for the life cycle energy analysis and the summary. Now, the summary of life cycle energy analysis we look at it. The main important element is first is the reducing the waste and reusing the waste materials in a appropriate way in the site, and recycling these materials and use your waste and recovering the energy which is used in the building, and also reduce the transports which again imports the environmental impacts, protecting the biodiversity and using the water resources in an appropriate manner and disposing these waste materials in a well treated manner in the building industries. Thank you.